So media is not accessible. Instead of
Samir, tell me.
your media is accessible.
No, Samir, it's not working. Better we have to use our own machine.
That's what we are doing. But I have this.
Yes, let's start today's session. In the last session, we were discuss about .NET Framework versions and Visual Studio versions, application area of .NET, and what software is required to install for working with the .NET, all C#, ASP.NET, SQL Server, ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Web API, with ADO.NET, all these things. Only two softwares are required. One is Visual Studio as well as another one is SQL Server 2019. Okay, and today we'll start with the .NET code execution process. .NET code execution process. So generally, when we go to basic languages like C, C++, how the code is going to be executed, whatever the code you write using C++ language or C language, the code is called source code. In general, source code is compiled by respective language compiler and generate bytecode or mission understandable code, and later it will be transferred to operating system for further process. But when it comes to .NET execution process, there are two compilations takes place. There are two compilations takes place. Internally, two compilations takes place. What are that? So first one, let me show the diagrammatic representation. Code execution process of .NET. This is. Okay. So there are two compilations takes place. First compilation as well as second compilation. In the first compilation, normally, so whenever we write the code using C#.NET, that code is called source code. And source code is going to compiled by respective language compiler. You know, every programming language is having its own compiler. For example, you are working with C#.NET. C#.NET is having its own compiler. If you write code in VB, VB.NET also is having compiler. So VB compiler, that is. Okay. So source code is compiled by language compiler, and it will produce a special type of code which is related to Microsoft, that is MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Language, or Common Intermediate Language, or Intermediate Language. Anyone you can call it as. Up to here, first compilations complete. And this is not byte code. This is not system understandable code. So generally, so final output, if you want to get, then compulsory, you should give input to the operating system like in the form of binary format only. But actually, this is not binary format. This is normal English language statements only. So up to here, first compilation takes place. In the coming to the second compilation, this MSL code can be transferred to CLR. Here CLR is the main component, common language runtime, we can call it as. How Java people will have JVM, like Java Virtual Machine. Okay, so similarly here in .NET, we use CLR, Common Language Runtime. Common Language Runtime is used to provide runtime environment or execution environment for .NET applications. If we don't have CLR, we cannot able to run our application for sure now. So here CLR is the main component, Common Language Runtime. In the second compilation, this MSL code can be transferred to CLR. And before executing by CLR, the code is compiled by JIT compiler, JIT, just-in-time compiler. It is second compiler of .NET program execution. This MSL code is again compiled by JIT after successful compilation. Then it will transfer to CLR. CLR will execute the code and it will produce what? Native code. This native code is nothing but binary format or mission understandable format or system understandable format. This code can be transferred to operating system for further process. So the code is executed by CLR. Code will not executed by OS. OS will do only what actually process. OS will do further process, output process. How output will be displayed to the end user, that will take care by operating system. But code will not executed by operating system. Code will execute by CLR only. So this is second compilation. So every time when we write code in C#.NET, so when we hit the run button, or else from your keyboard, when we hit the F5 button, these things will be happen internally. So immediately you will get the output, but behind the scenes, these things will take place. First compilation and second compilation like this. So here SC means source code, LC means language compiler, MSIL means Microsoft Intermediate Language, CIL means Common Intermediate Language, IL means Intermediate Language. And CLR stands for Common Language Runtime, JIT means Just-in-Time Compiler. So this is first compilation and second compilation. But always second compilation is the faster rate of compiler than first compilation. So maximum code like 60 to 70% of the code is compiled by respective language compiler, and rest of the code is compiled by JIT compiler. The code is executed under the CLR. At the time, JIT compiler will be compiled with this MSIL code. This is code execution process. Two compilations takes place in .NET program execution. So when compared with normal C, C++, there was only one compiler is there. Even then Java also, we have two compilations. There JVM JIT compiler is there, but here in CLR JIT compiler is there. This is the code execution process. And another thing is, whenever I said that in the last session, without .NET framework, there is no .NET. Without .NET framework, there is no .NET. .NET framework means what? It's a collection of class libraries. As soon as when we download and install Visual Studio setup, and automatically behind the scenes, the number of framework libraries gets installed. Using that libraries only, we can able to write the program. So here I'm telling you .NET framework components. .NET framework components. .NET framework components. Two important components are there. One is BCL, base class library, or it also called as FCL, means framework class library. FCL means framework class library. Framework class library. So BCL in the sense base class library. Anyone you can call it as base class library. Base class library. So BCL means base class library. FCL means framework class library. Second one, CLR. It stands for Common Language Runtime. Common Language Runtime. Common Language Runtime. These two components are very important. Without .NET framework, there is no .NET, I said. The reason is because of these two components only. See, if you want to write a programming part using .NET, compulsory base class libraries or framework class libraries are required. It's mandatory. Base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Okay, base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Base class libraries are similar to header files in C, C++ or packages in Java. So for example, in C#.NET, in C, C++, before writing code, we use header files like #include stdioh, #include conio.h like that. And in Java also, we include some packages. Similarly in .NET, we include base class libraries, or we can call it as namespaces also. So without base class libraries, even we can't write any code. Okay, base class libraries are important to the .NET application development. So base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Base class libraries are in the form of two different ways. One is .exe. Next one is DLL. DLL stands for Dynamic Link Library. Dynamic Link Library. So .exe is nothing but it's an executable file. .exe means what? Executable file it is. DLL means dynamic link library. .exe executable file, it will run individually. Means whenever you double click on .exe, obviously it will run individually. Directly it will execute because it's having an entry point. It's having an entry point. Entry point in the sense main method only. Yes, main method. Entry point in the sense main method. Main method. So every .exe contains a main method that is entry point. So that's what it run directly. And DLL stands for dynamic link library. It is not a main file. It is a supportive file. DLL is what actually? Supportive file. It is a supportive file. When it will not directly run. Why? Because it don't have any entry point. There is no main method in DLL. So DLL file is for reusability. Yes, reusability. In our sessions, I'll show you how to create DLL file, how to reuse them into other applications. How to create DLL file and how to reuse them into our applications. So dynamic link library, DLL stands for. It is just a supportive file. While executing .exe, DLL will provide some important libraries, whichever it is required for the execution. So that's what DLL is nothing but supportive file. It is only for reusability. One time if you create DLL with your logic, that DLL file we can add as a reference to other applications directly. In this DLL, what content is there, that content will come to there and directly you can use it again without re-implementation. So reusability purpose, we use DLL file. So directly you can execute by using .exe only. So these two files under comes into base class libraries. So base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Without base class libraries, we cannot write .NET programs. So base class libraries are heart of .NET applications. Okay, these are called header files in C, C++ or packages in Java. So I'm concluding once, without base class libraries, we cannot write a code. For example, after writing code for .NET application using base class libraries, next step is what? We have to run the code. To run or execute the code purpose, we use CLR. Without CLR, we cannot run the code. So writing code is important. Writing code is important, and executing code also important. Both are important to us. So writing code is important and executing the code also important. We can write the code using base class libraries. We can run the code using CLR, common language runtime. So CLR is the main component. It's similar to Java JVM, Java Virtual Machine. And using CLR component, we can able to run our .NET applications. We can able to execute our .NET applications. And CLR is categorized into 4 subcomponents internally. One is CLS. CLS stands for Common Language Specification. Common Language Specification. Common Language Specification. So first one is CLS. Next CTS is there. CTS stands for Common Type System. Common Type System. Common Type System. CTS stands for Common Type System. And next one is GC. Garbage collector is there. GC means garbage collector. Garbage collector. And next JIT, just-in-time compiler. JIT is there. Just-in-time compiler. Just-in-time compiler. Okay, this is the 4 subcomponents are. These 4 subcomponents are under comes into CLR. It's a main component. So while executing .NET program, this CLR will play important role. Along with the CLR, it's having a lot of like these 4 subcomponents. So these subcomponents also will be play the role while executing the code. First, let me explain about CLS, Common Language Specification. See, as I said in my previous sessions, .NET supports around 60 plus languages. You can choose any programming language. Then .NET, you choose any programming language. You can develop .NET application is possible. But one thing, every programming language is having its own syntactical rules and regulations. Yes. For example, if I select C# .NET as per my requirement, C# syntactical rules I should follow. Suppose you select VB.NET for writing code. So you should follow VB.NET syntactical rules and regulations. So every programming language is having its own syntactical rules and regulations. One programming language cannot understand other programming language syntactical rules and regulations. But while executing the code under the CLR, so different programming languages code should execute by CLR, but CLR cannot understand different programming language syntactical rules and regulations. So that's what, while executing the code, CLS subcomponent is there, common language specification. This subcomponent will convert all programming language syntactical rules and regulations into CLR understandable format. Then only CLR can provide execution environment for all different .NET programming languages. As per my requirement, I may choose C#. Your requirement, you may choose VB.NET. Other programmers choose J#.NET, F#.NET, all .NET programming language only. But execution, that all code should be executed by CLR. But CLR cannot understand different programming language syntactical rules and regulations. So that's the reason CLS component is there. This component can be used to convert different programming language syntactical rules and regulations into CLR understandable format. At the same time, CTS is there, common type system. This also called as data type system. Data type system. You know, every programming language is having its own data types. C# data types are different. VB.NET data types are different. J# data types, F# data types. Data types are different for every programming language. Okay. So one programming language data type system cannot understand by other programming language data type system. So here, CLR is having its own data type system format. But while executing the code, CTS will take responsible to convert all programming language data type system into CLR understandable format. Then only CLR can understand the data types with its own format, and it will provide execution environment for .NET applications, which is written in different languages. So data type system conversion from all languages into CLR format, CTS is possible. And syntactical rules and regulations we can convert from different programming language into CLR understandable formats. Okay, these are the things. And there is a GC is there, garbage collector. So garbage collector main purpose is automatic memory management. Automatic memory management. Automatic memory management. This is garbage collector purpose. See, in the olden days, programmer has to write lot of code for memory management, because whenever we create objects for the application, that objects will expect some memory. Okay. But nowadays, every programming language is having built-in garbage collector mechanism. That means, as a programmer, you need not to write any memory management code. So whenever we write the code, automatically while executing the code by CLR, CLR is having GC, garbage collector. It will provide automatic memory management to our application code. So automatic memory management is just the process of deleting or destroying unused objects and assign memory to the useful objects. This process is called automatic memory management. We can create number of objects to our applications, but sometimes what will happen at the time of execution, some objects are not useful to run our application. That is unused objects. Even after releasing the instance also, that objects will take memory, will occupy memory, but that memory is not required. So if the objects are unnecessarily occupying the memory, if no one is there for cleanup activities performance, then automatically some extent your application will run out of the memory. That means someone should be there every time the cleanup activities need to be performed. Cleanup activities means memory deallocation process. And whenever objects are required memory, then it should be allocated. Whenever it's don't really need the memory, then it should deallocate. So allocation and deallocation process is done by what? Garbage collector. Garbage collector is used to provide automatic memory management. Means memory allocation whenever it is required, it will do, and memory deallocation whenever it is not required, it will do that. So as a programmer, we are not going to do anything for deallocation process, allocation process, all those things. While executing the code under the CLR, automatically memory allocation, deallocation is happening. Okay, this is garbage collector, which is associated with CLR. And last compiler, that is just-in-time compiler, JIT. It is a compiler which is used in second compilation of program execution. Just-in-time compiler responsible to convert MSL code into CLR understandable format code, and that will be executed by CLR, and it will produce native code only. So second compilation of .NET program execution, that is JIT. So this CLS, CTS, GC, JIT is comes into CLR. This is the second component. So without CLR, we cannot execute our .NET programs. Without base class libraries, we cannot write .NET programs. But as a programmer, writing code is very important. Execution of the code is important. To write and to execute your code, these two components are important. These two comes into .NET framework. So whenever you don't have .NET framework, there is no .NET. You cannot write, you cannot execute. So this is complete introduction of .NET completely. What is .NET, why .NET, what things are there, and that things. Now coming to this, today I'm going to start our introduction to C#.NET. As I said that first initially we will start with this .NET package course C# with SQL. So in this week, demo purpose, I'll take C#.NET only continuously. Next week onwards, my plan will be implement like as I said that Monday to Thursday C#.NET sessions, and every Friday and Saturday SQL Server sessions will be continued. Okay. So first today I'll start with C# basic introduction. If time permit, then I'll start coding part with Visual Studio. So C#.NET here. C#.NET. What is C#.NET? As I said that C#.NET is a programming language. C#.NET is what? A programming language. It is C#.NET is a programming language which is used to write coding part for the application development. Which is used to write. Yeah, Mr. Kishore, no voice means you have not switched on your mic. Just give me. So C#.NET is a programming language which is used to write logic part for the application development, or logic part or coding part for the application development. Okay, what type of programming language it is? C#.NET. C#.NET is a general purpose. C#.NET is a general purpose, high level, object-oriented programming language. C#.NET is a general purpose, means using C#.NET we can develop any type of applications like console applications, Windows applications, web applications, Windows services, web services, MVC, and so on. Business applications, network programming, different types of applications we can develop using C#.NET. That's what we can call it as general purpose. It's not designed for specific application development. It's designed for general application development. Means using C#.NET we can develop any sort of applications. And C#.NET is a high-level programming language. Means it is a user-friendly language. So low-level activities purpose, like memory management and security implementation purpose, we need not to write any logic code explicitly from the programmer point of view. So internally it will be managed. So as I said that just now, garbage collector, it will provide automatic memory management. We are not going to write any code for memory management purpose. So because it is high level and object-oriented programming language. Yes, obviously. Similarly, Java, C#.NET is almost equal to Java. It is object-oriented programming language. So once your programming language is object-oriented, then what is the main advantage? Security, reusability, and application enhancement benefits we'll get. So using C#.NET, we will provide a lot of security to our code. Using C#.NET, we will provide reusability. That means once we write the code many times, we can reuse the code, reuse the code. And coming to this application enhancement in the sense, for example, as per client requirement, whenever we develop some logic, that same logic we can able to reuse into other applications also. That is application enhancement. So application enhancement is possible with object-oriented. Code reusability is possible. Code security is also possible with object-oriented. So C#.NET is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, so this is. And C#.NET is case-sensitive programming language. C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language, sir. Case-sensitive programming language. Case-sensitive programming language. So that means how the way you declare the variables, function names, class names, okay, access modifier names, any names, how the way you declare, same way how to access. If you try to access in different way, then you will get error, obviously, syntax error. Because it's a case-sensitive programming language. Suppose I'm declaring the variable a equals to 10. So how to access this a? Using a only, small letter a. If I try to access in capital letter, then it will give wrong. Because you declare in small letter, but you are trying to access in capital letter. That's not correct. So C#.NET is a case-sensitive programming language. And C#.NET is most powerful programming language because C#.NET is equals to C++ features plus VB 6.0 features plus Java features plus additional features are there. All features we include in C#.NET. It is completely available. So C++ plus VB 6.0 plus Java plus additional features we included in C#.NET. So C#.NET is powerful language. So that means directly you can able to start learn C#.NET and no need to learn for C basics or C++ basics to become a C# programmer, because total basics like data types, operators, control flow statements, everything will be covered in C#.NET only once I start coding part. And mainly in the C#.NET programming, as I said in the last session, the application area of .NET, standalone or desktop application time, I said that console application. Console application is CUI, command user interface or character user interface. This application through maximum programming, I'll finish with C#.NET, including object-oriented. Okay, so this is powerful. Don't underestimate the console application. Maximum concept you are going to learn with console application only. So that means you will learn in this console application how to prepare a program, what is the basic structure of program, how to declare the variables, how to work with the data types, how to create functions, how to call the functions, okay, how to create a classes, everything you will learn in this console application only. So our first application is console application. Console application. So what is console application in C#.NET? Console application is a standalone or a desktop application. Console application is a standalone or a desktop application. Console application programs are just like C, C++. Because when we write console programs, after execution, the output will be displayed on command prompt. So you are going to deal with console application will provide completely CUI facilities. CUI facilities only it will provide. CUI facilities in the sense command user interface or character user interface. Command user interface or character interface. You will not see any graphical interface like GUI, graphical user interface. When it comes to Windows Forms applications like ASP.NET web applications, then you will see graphical user interface. Means we will prepare a website with labels, text boxes, buttons, background image, all options. That is designing facilities. But you don't find any designing facilities while working with console application. So CUI facilities completely, command user interface or character user interface. So whenever you start creating programs using console application, you are going to give inputs in the form of characters. At the same time, you are going to output from the application in the form of characters only. So that is console application. And in console application, In console application, console is a class. What is this console, sir? In console application, console is a class. Console is a class which is used to work with, input and output. To work with input and output, we use what class actually? Console class. And console class present in system namespace. System namespace. Namespace is nothing but header file. What is console class? Console is a class. In console application, what is console? Console is a class. It's a predefined class which is used to work with input and output. If you want to give input to the application or program, we have to use console class. To get output values from the application, we use console class. Console class present in which namespace? System namespace. Means in the header section, this system namespace we have to include. But in C, C++, Java, programmer should import the header files by their own. But when it comes to .NET programming languages, no need to import any header files or namespaces, because according to you selected applications, what are the built-in namespaces required, that built-in namespace will come into the header section only. So console class present in system namespace. And console class is having methods. Console class is having methods. What methods? So write method, W capital, because console application and the C#.NET is completely case sensitive. So write line method is there. Write line L capital. Read method is there. Read method R capital. Read line method is there. Read line. What is this read line? L capital. So these first two methods, these all methods are associated with console class. So write method, write line methods are output methods. Output method means if you want to display something onto the screen, then we use the write line. Or if you want to display result values, or if you want to display any values in the output window, then we use write line statements, write line methods. So write line methods are output methods. For example, if you want to accept input values from the user, means you're asking to the end user, enter something. User will enter something. That inputs if you want to take in the application, then we have to use read line. So how we use in C programming, printf. Similarly here in C#.NET, write line. How we use in C programming like scanf. Same here in C#.NET, read line. But there is a difference between write line. Write method is used to display statements onto the screen within the same line only. In case if you want to display the output values in the line by line, means one by one line, then you can use write line method. Write method is only for display statements onto the screen within the same line, whereas write line method is used to display statements onto the screen line by line. Read method is used to read only single character. It will read only single character, whereas read line method will read multiple characters. So read line methods are input methods. Suppose I'm asking in the output window, enter your name. Okay, enter your name, I'm asking. I just enter the name called, my name is Mohan. I'm giving my input here. Whenever you are trying to give input in the at the time of application running, so your program should read these inputs. And when we use read method, it will read only one character, single character or next character. M character, O character, H character, A character, N character, like this. It will read one by one character only. And that too, read method will read ASCII value of the character. Every character is having its own ASCII number type, that is. So that's what return type of read method is integer. Read method return type is what? Int. Why it is int? Because read method will read only single character or next character from the user input. So that's what return type of read method is integer only. Read method will read character, but it will read ASCII value of the character. ASCII value means every character is having some ASCII number, that is integer type only. So return type of read method is integer. So read line method is used to read group of characters. Group of character means these are the group of characters. MOHAN, all characters at a time it will read. So read line method will read what actually string type, string. It returns string, means read line method will read group of characters. Read method will read ASCII value of single character. This is the difference between read and read line. I'll show you practical implementation also. Now once, let me quickly, today I'll create one console application while opening Visual Studio. Okay, so let me open Visual Studio to create a new application for this batch. As I said that Visual Studio is just an editor. So I recommend to download and install latest version of Visual Studio. As I said in the last session, you just go to Google and type download Visual Studio 2022. So simply you can download Visual Studio 2022 and you can see official website visualstudio.microsoft. Click on this link and there in the drop down list, they'll provide 3 options for you: community, professional, enterprise. Last session also I explained clearly which one is required. You can click on community, then you can download it. So once you download and install, in my computer already I have download and install. Let me open, go to search and type Visual Studio and you will get Visual Studio 2022. Once I click on this, you will be able to open Visual Studio editor. So in this editor environment, first I have to create a new project. But I have a lot of batches actually here, which is currently running. For all those batches, I created many applications, Windows Forms, ASP.NET Core applications, all these things. But the recent applications are there in left-hand side. But I don't want to open that one because I want to create a new project here. So to create a new project here, right side, there is a create new project option is there. You just click on this, create new project. So once you click on new project, it will ask you to create a project with what language. So our language is what actually C#.NET. So compulsory how to select C#.NET only. So C#.NET is my programming language. Platform in the sense which platform you are going to run. I'm selecting Windows because I have Windows operating system. And which type of application you are trying to create? I'm trying to create a console application. So console template anji. So these 3 options are recommended. C#.NET is your programming language. Windows is your operating system. Console is what actually your application type. But look at here, 2 templates are suggesting here. One is console app. Next one is console app.NET framework. So if I select this console app.NET framework, then your programs will be able to run on only Windows operating system. That means your programs are making platform dependent nature. Dependent means once you write code and where you can run on Windows, then later you cannot run the same programs on other operating system like Unix, Linux, Mac OS, and so on. But when I choose this option, console app, here a project for creating a command line application that can run on .NET Core platform. .NET Core is a framework. .NET Framework is a framework. Both are there. So .NET Core means which will run on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, and etc. So which will make to run all operating system. So I'll show you both the templates, but initially I want to show you a basic example with the .NET Framework because I want to tell you which version is the latest version. So let's see this console app.NET Framework. Click on next. And now you can see it will ask you to create your application name. Project name is console app 1. Solution name is also console app 1. Now you can see framework option is there. You can expand drop down list. There are a lot of frameworks are there. So Visual Studio 2022 supports only .NET Framework 4 onwards, 4, 4.5, 4.1, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8. But 4 below it will not support. If you want to work with 4 below, you have to go for Visual Studio 2019, 2017 like old versions. But I have latest version, obviously 4.8 only framework. This is fine. And this location I want to change because this location I'm going to change here. I'm going to create on desktop one folder here because for your batch. So let's go to new folder, create. Your batch name is .NET at 4 p.m. Sorry, 5 p.m. So this is your folder. From now onwards, I'll store all the files in this folder only. So users Lenovo desktop.NET at 5 p.m. This is the location. My application name is console app 1 using .NET framework. Click on create. That's all. It will create a new project, new console project, and basic structure you are going to see now. Just observe here in my programming environment. This is Visual Studio environment. You also try to download and install it and be ready with your softwares, and daily you should practice whatever I'm going to cover in our class. So practice is very important. If you don't practice, waste of learning .NET. Okay. So if you don't have enough time to practice, better to drop the course. If you have enough time to practice, then you can join the course. Don't waste your money and time if you don't have time to practice. Now it is taking time for the first time. Once it will create a console application project. Now you can see this is completely basic structure of console program. So these are all base class libraries or header files or namespaces, we can call it as. All are usings. And by default, according to our type of applications like console application, by default some namespaces are coming using system.collections.generic, using system.link language integrated code, using system.text, using system.threading.task. This is multi-threading program purpose. These are all built-in namespaces, but this is our own namespace. Just now I created my application name called console app1. Application is nothing but it's a group of classes. So I have a class, default class is there, program class. It's having an entry point also, static void main and M capital letter. And this is completely command line argument, string, square bracket, args, string array structure it is, command line arguments. Because whenever you are going to deal with console applications, every time whatever the values you are going to give input to the application, that will be treated as by default what? String format only. In case if you want to accept the integer values, then you have to be convert. That means typecasting mechanism is there, converting from one data type to another data type. So this is the entry point of the program. So wherever the main method is there, static void main, program will execute from there only. Okay. So for example, here, I want to introduce some windows also here in .NET. So mainly right hand side, there is one window is there like Solution Explorer. This is dockable windows, we can call it as. Whenever I go through Solution Explorer, immediately click on console app1, and there are some program.cs and references and properties are there. When we click over there, it will hide this. This is called dockable window. Okay. Now coming to this console application, one is our application name, and by default, one program is there that is .cs. Strictly remember, C#.NET files are having an extension called .cs. .cs means C# extension. Okay, so this is program.cs is there. If you want to write any programming part, okay, let's write this. Just I'm writing statement. To display any statements, then we use console class. As I said that this is console application, so that's what I'm using console class. But as soon as when we type the console, IntelliSense is coming, you can see. This is IntelliSense, means suggestions. So the beauty of Visual Studio 2022, so what programmer is expecting, immediately Visual Studio 2022 recognize, and it will allow you to accept by pressing tabs, two tabs. Whenever I try to two tabs, then automatically it will capture. No need to write continuously. This is the advantage. You are not going to see this facility in Visual Studio 2019, older versions. Okay. So console.writeLine, I just want to print welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. Okay, this is my output. I want to show into output window here. This is welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. Okay, so I'm going to end it with semicolon. This program I want to execute. How to execute? Directly you can see there is a start button is there. You can click on this, or else you can hit F5 button from your keyboard. F5, press F5. So automatically it will compile and execute. Or you want to separately compile, you can also compile. There is a build option is there, I'll show you. So now you can see build started, means compilation started. Once build succeeded, then you will get output window in the command prompt. But even you can see in the output window also, your output will come and go immediately. It will not stay back. Just look at here once. So you got this output window, command prompt. So you will see the output, welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. Immediately you will exit from this output window. Means your output window will not stay back permanently. It's coming and it's going. Are you observing? Yes. So this is whenever I run this again, it will come and go. So how to make to stay back the screen permanently until you close the window. So to stay back the screen permanently until you close the window, then console.read method is required to add. It's keep on reading the statements, output statements. This is recommend, sir. So once I run this with the console.read method, then you can see your output window will be completely available. So whenever you close this, that will exit. Now welcome to DurgaSoft online training program is output program. This output text, if you want increase font size, click on this command prompt and click on properties, and there some options are there, font options, and you can select the font size. Font size I'm taking 24, and layout of the window also I'm taking like 80 is the width, the height is what actually 18 only I'm taking, or else 25 height I'm taking. Width is 80, 25 height. Now welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. If we close this window, or else you can hit the enter button, you will exit from the output window. This is the first program which I'm using this console.write. Suppose let me copy this statement, console.writeLine. Welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. Below that, I'm taking one more line, console.writeLine. So just I'm giving, okay, .NET package course I'm giving. .NET package course. .NET package course. Once I hit this, you can see two statements are available in the output window in the line by line. Okay, first statement is available in first line. Second statement is available in second line. That's fine. Because of I am using console.writeLine methods. Console is a class, writeLine is a method. So whenever I use this console.write only, so there is writeLine methods are there, no, both. So write method is used to display statements onto the screen within the same line only. Whereas writeLine method is used to display statement onto the screen line by line. Now you can say welcome to DurgaSoft online training program. .NET package also is available in same line. So this is because of only we are using write statements, write methods. When I use writeLine, then it is okay. This is not required because after this, if you have any line, then here also you can use writeLine. First line, first statement only I'm using writeLine. Immediately it will print that, it will jump into next line, .NET package course. So this is just basic things which I discussed today. And you can see in the header section, all namespaces are there, but which one is active right now? System only is active. The reason is we are using console class here. If I comment this, okay, comment means this two slashes you have to use, this line comment, or else comment section we can include, you can select the line which line you want to comment, or else place the mouse pointer over there. And here you can see comment option is available in Visual Studio main editor, like you can see commented out the selector line. Once I comment the reaction, you can see this, the error is coming here. Console class does not exist in the current context. Whenever uncomment again, uncomment option also here. Now console class is working fine. So console class is present in system namespace. Okay. So for more details, so I'll give tomorrow clearly. Tomorrow we'll continue from these programs. Many things we'll discuss, how to accept values at runtime, how to work with the data type conversion, typecasting mechanism in detail we'll discuss. Just I started programming part today. So tomorrow onwards, completely programming concepts only I'll explain. So that's all from my side today. Okay, this is the third session. And tomorrow 4th and 5. So 2 days time you have, you can decide. So if you want to join with this course, please contact to DurgaSoft for enrollment of this course. So once your enrollment is finished, then only I'll start sharing the videos and material completely. You can take the decision within 2 days. Okay, already who joined for this course, I'll send the recording videos once I collect your mail IDs from DurgaSoft. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me now. Tomorrow also you can join on same link at same time. So if you are new to this session, I strongly recommend to watch my 2 recording videos on YouTube. So I recommend to visit YouTube. You can go to Google and click on YouTube link, and in the search box you can type DURGASOFT. Just I'll assist you to how to watch my videos. If you miss the 2 sessions, you can watch these videos. DURGASOFT, you can type it here, DURGASOFT. And once you open DURGASOFT, this is the official channel, DURGASOFT solution, and you can go to playlist option. And this is playlist option. And in this playlist, we will find my playlist. So here .NET is there. Okay, .NET. .NET tutorials by Mr. Mohan Reddy at 5 p.m. IST. 2 videos they uploaded. Today, 3rd video, they will upload this also. Okay. Even if you anybody interested to watch my Python Django REST API also, you can watch these videos. So I used to teach Python Django REST API also, all these things. But it is not required for you. This is only required for you. You can watch these 2 videos. Okay. Yes. So that's all from my side today. See you tomorrow. Any question, you can ask me. Yes. Thanks for attending the session. Hope you will attend tomorrow also on same link at same time. Have a nice time.